So one thing, I'm a big processes guy, and that's why I love talking about like what everyone's sales process looks like, because I never considered myself like a hard closing, like word track guy. Like I'm not gonna shove it like something down your throat. It's just never been my style. And so when I met Andy and I kind of saw how he sells, I was like, this is my guy, because we relate a lot in that way. Andy talks about all the time being a master communicator. What that means, make it easy to say yes to, make it hard to say no to, and make it the customer's idea every time. So that's what I was saying is like when you get to the end of the conversation and the customer is like, how do we do this? What's the next step? How do we start this? It's their idea at that point. You're not closing them. They've already closed themselves. I'm gonna challenge all of you to take it one step further and put yourself in the right state before the phone call. That's the first step of the sales process. Because if you're in a negative headspace or you just got off of a shitty phone call, the last thing you want to do is just roll right into that next one without like genuinely thinking to yourself, like, what is your goal? Your goal is to have a good attitude, help the customer make a decision, and book their move, okay? That's your goal as a salesperson. So I want to challenge all of you guys to add a step to your sales process. And you can call it mindset, you can call it whatever you want to, but just making sure that you're in the right state of mind before you get on a call, before you show up at their house and you do their in-person appointment, whatever it might be, but just make sure you're in the right state to do what you're supposed to do, which is have a good attitude, take care of the customer, book the move, okay? Why do we follow a sales process? So a lot of salespeople go wrong by thinking that the process is made for them. The process is for the customer. Okay, and what that means is it's your job as a salesperson to make this whole process an easy experience and an easy decision for the client. That's why people hate salespeople, because your average salesperson sucks. And when they get in a conversation, they have no structure, they don't know where to go. And by the end of it, the customer is frustrated because now they're confused. They probably have a lot of information now, and they weren't led down the process to be informed to make a decision. And that's why people have a bad rap for salespeople, because your average salesperson is much worse than just average, okay? They just don't know what they're doing. So the process, as much as it is for us as salespeople, the process is for the customer, because you're leading them and, just like you said, directing them exactly where you want them to go. And it's where they know they need to go, but you just gotta help them get there, because we know they called us because they are going to move, it's a fact. And by the point of them reaching out to you, they want to pay someone to move their stuff for them. So they don't really want to do it themselves. So it's your job as a sales professional to guide them through that process and get them to that point where they're ready to make a decision to move with you guys, okay? What happens when we avoid the process? I want to hit on this because one of you guys hit on it. You don't know where to grow. You don't know where to scale if you don't have a process to follow. So like, is your introduction off? Is it the way that you're asking questions? Is it the questions that you're asking? Is it when you transition from presenting the numbers to asking for the money? It's like, does it get weird there? If you don't follow a process and you don't track it by like recording your calls and then actually going back and listening to it, you don't know where to improve. So again, like without the structure, we're just going around in circles and hoping that we close the deal today, which is, I'm gonna be honest, how most salespeople go to work. They're like, I hope I close something today. And that's why they suck, and they're making the money that they're making because one, their mindset is screwed up, but two, they don't really have a process that they're following and that they're sticking to. We know most companies have a process, but like, do we really hold them accountable to like follow it? Because it's really easy to hire somebody, get them going on some training for a couple of days, and then just get them on the phones and just let them go. And now we hope that they're gonna go sell some stuff. That's how 99% of customer or companies operate. And that's why there's high turnover. That's why I love, like, with this room, there's multiple people in here that have been here for years, which is really cool to me. I love that, because in most sales roles, Tim, it's high turnover, right? Because people don't stick around because they don't follow the process, the training's not there. So it's like the fact that you guys have an owner and a leader here that wants to pour back into you guys to keep you here longer, like that's a good thing. Like we should all be appreciative of that. So again, it's like when we have the process, we know where our imperfections are at, and we know what we need to go back and like tweak and like grow from. Just like us listening to the call recordings earlier, everyone says they listen to their calls, but I would be pretty confident in saying that not everyone listens to their calls. It's really easy to say in a room full of people that, yeah, of course we listen to our calls. But when we go back and truly listen to it and dissect not only the bad, but also the good, that's really when you know like what you're doing well and where you need to improve on. So if you're not listening to your calls, like we saw how simple it was this morning. Just go in, pick one, listen to it, critique yourself, and then like actually like execute on whatever you decide you need to get better at, and like figure out where you need to improve at, where your holes are. So that's why we follow a process.